Hey everybody, I'm Scott Wikle. You're listening to My Kind of Country. My guest tonight has had 36 charted singles, 2 number ones, 5 top tens, including Tie a Yellow Ribbon Around the Old Oak Tree, a smash number one in 1974. Afternoon Delight, That Sweet Old Lady of Mine, so many great songs. He's been on so many different television shows. He's appeared all over the world in concert, and he is very active in the music business to this day, and it's an honor to have him on My Kind of Country tonight. Johnny Carver. Johnny, how are you tonight?
I'm well, and I'm honored to be appearing on Scott's show.
Well, my gosh, it's nice to have you, and I'm really glad we were able to get together.
Be with you, my friend.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Well, before we talk about your stellar career, tell me what's going on with you these days.
These days, well, here's the deal. I kind of semi-retired from the road about 10 years ago, got rid of the van and the bus, but I still do, Scott, about, 15 to 20 dates a year, and mainly I do the little, what I'm referred to as local Grand Ole Opry type shows. They're just all over the country.
Sure.
And I generally come as a single and use their house band to back me up, and so I do that. I live in a little town just about 30 miles from Nashville called Lebanon, Tennessee, which, while I'm saying that, is where Cracker Barrel restaurants originated here in Lebanon.
Yeah.
The very first Cracker Barrel was started here, and I, have been fortunate enough to know the owner of the guy who started all that, and so I live about 30 miles from Nashville, and we go to a Methodist church. And about 10 years ago, Scott, I started a music school there. It's called Carver's School of Music, and we have about 100 students a week. I teach there 3 days a week, and I teach guitar and electric bass and also singing. And then we have another vocal teacher, a lady who teaches vocals, and we have 3 piano teachers and one, quote, fiddle slash violin teacher. So we have about 100 students a week that come through there, and that kind of keeps me busy. And it's also giving back to the younger people and maybe sharing my, whatever talent I have with them.
All right. Well, that's great. It sounds like you are staying busy, that's for sure. And I know you were on RFDTV on one of the country's family reunion shows recently, too.
Yeah, I did 4 of them.
Oh, wow.
They tape 4 at one time. You're there all day. You do one and you take a break, and then you come back and do another one. You don't sing on all of them. A lot of, I only sang on 2. The other 2, I was just part of the audience.
Uh-huh.
It's a great show, and it's hoping to keep the traditional country music alive, which we've lost a little of that, I think, over the years, but at least, you can go there and sing country music.
Absolutely. And I'm sure it's nice to see some old friends and hear some great stories, too.
Absolutely. It's a fun thing. Yeah, it's a real fun show to do. Yeah.
Well, that's great. Well, Johnny, you have had a stellar career, and I'd like to go back and talk about the beginning part of your career. You were discovered by Mr. Del Shannon, is that correct?
Absolutely. Well, yeah, as far as getting into the record business, I mentioned to you, earlier that I lived in Milwaukee for a while. I'm originally from Mississippi, and so at graduating high school, I went on the road with my little Mississippi band, and we wound up in Milwaukee, and I stayed there for 6 years, and then I left Milwaukee and moved to Los Angeles, and was very fortunate, Scott, to have gotten a job there at a club called the Palomino Club.
Oh, yeah.
North Hollywood. And a lot of people have heard about it. It's equivalent to the Grand Ole Opry here in Nashville. That's how big it is. We would have, every weekend, we'd have, Grand Ole Opry stars as special guests, and, the Merle Haggards and Glenn Campbells, and you just name it. We had everybody there on the weekends. And Del Shannon had just moved there from Michigan, and he loved country music, loved it. And we worked 6 nights a week, and I would promise you that Dale was at the club probably 4 nights out of the 6 every week.
Wow.
And for some reason just took a real liking to me in my singing, and he had gotten him a new record deal out there. And one night he came up, he said, Johnny, he said, I just signed with, it was Liberty Records, I think, at that time. He said, and he said, if you would let me produce you, I can get you on that label. And I said, man, I said, if you can get me on that label, your mama can produce me. I don't care, you know. So that's how I really got my first contract was with Dale Shannon, and Dale produced the first 2 things that I did for that label, and then the label decided they wanted to move to Nashville in order to create the more of a Nashville sound, and so they sent one of their other producers to Nashville, and they told me that you need to go to Nashville to make your records, and I went to the owner of the Palomino and told him I needed 2 weeks off to go to Nashville and make my records, and he said, well, I can't give you 2 weeks off, and I said, well, I'm fixing to give you 2 weeks notice. So that's how I came to Nashville.
So that was that. Well, you were on, I believe you were on Imperial Records at the beginning, then ABC, is that right?
Yep, sure was. Yeah, that was my earliest label. Yep. All that was the label really that Dale got me on was Imperial, but they owned Liberty and a couple of other labels out there.
Okay, gotcha. I know one of your first songs was Your Lily White Hands, one of my favorite songs.
Lily White Hands, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was on Imperial, and that was cut here in Nashville, and Dale produced a couple of my things, but I was just a brand new artist, and neither one of them took off very well. And then when I did Lily White Hands, that was my first charted record. I think it got to probably number 15 nationwide. Yeah.
It's a great song. You also wrote a song called New Lips that Roy Drusky put out at that time. Right?
Absolutely. I don't know how you know all this. You must have a bio or something. Yeah, I did that, and I also wrote a song that Charlie Walker recorded called My Baby Used to Be That Way, that was like a top 10 song.
Oh, yeah, I remember that one.
I've been very fortunate to, Connie Smith has cut some of my stuff, and, just, kind of when you come to Nashville, you got to do a lot of things to try to make a living, but till you can get a hit record in order to go out and work the road. So, when I first writing for this publishing company, and was very fortunate to have gotten those people to cut my songs.
Well, I know that you certainly had a monster hit with Tie a Yellow Ribbon, and of course that was a great album for you too. And how did you come to record that song?
Well, I was traveling down. I went on a road day going down through Texas, and I was listening to a country station that played the Tony Orlando version of that song. And when I got back to Nashville, I went into my producer's office. His name is Ron Chansey, and Ron has produced all the Oak stuff, Elvira and all those hits. But anyway, I went in and said, Ron, I said, I've heard this song, man, that I think would make a great country record. I even heard it on a country station. I said, it's a pop artist singing it. And he said, what's the name of it? I said, it's called Tie a Yellow Ribbon Around the Old Oak Tree. He held up a acetate. This is a record that the publishing companies send to try to get artists to cut their songs. And it was from the publishing company that published Tie a Yellow Ribbon. He said, look what I got. He held it up. And he said, when you want to cut this? I said, how about tomorrow? And we absolutely we scheduled a session the next day and cut it and had it out in 2 days.
Wow.
Yeah, it was that quick. Because if you don't get on top of something like that, somebody else is going to beat you to the punch,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, you certainly, on that recording, you had some of the Nashville A-Team on there. I know that Lloyd Green played steel on that, and
Yep.
Harold Bradley, Pig Robbins, Charlie McCoy, all the big guys at that time.
Absolutely, man. Jimmy Capps, you see Jimmy Capps on, television every day on that, show that he's on. He's on that family reunion, and in Larry's Country Diner. He's the sheriff on that show.
Yeah, I did a great interview with him a few months back. He just released a book not too long ago, and what a nice guy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Scott is one of my best friends. I've known him since I first moved to Nashville in 1966.
Oh, wow.
He was playing locally on a TV show, which was a country music show every morning here. It came on at 5 o'clock, ran from 5 to 6 every morning, and they had a great band, and I was lucky enough they invited me to sing on the show one time, and then they made me their regular singer. And so I was on 5 days a week at 5 o'clock in the morning on this TV show.
Wow.
And that's when I first met Jimmy.
Well, that's amazing. He's a nice guy. His wife, Michelle, I met him a couple years ago. I was in Nashville at the Ernest Tubb Midnight Jamboree with Freddie Hart and David Frizzell, and he was
Very
there.
Nice people. Yeah, they're great friends of ours, and, they've taken vacations with us, my wife and I, and, we've been friends since 1966.
Oh, that's great. Well, be sure and tell them I said hi the next time you talk to them.
I will, man.
They're good people.
Yep.
Well, some other great songs. That's Your Hang Up, and I Still Didn't Have the Sense to Go, and That Sweet Old Lady of Mine, big hits for you. And Afternoon Delight was another pop song that you made a country version of.
I did a country cover. Yeah, the Starlin Vocal Band, who was actually John Denver's road band, his backup band. They had the first hit on that, and one of the people in that band, I think, wrote that song. And there again, Ron Chance and I, heard that, and we said, boy, this would make a great country record. We just add a banjo, give it a little country flavor, and it did the trick. It was like a #1 record.
Well, it's a great song. It kind of
it's a great song.
Yeah, transcended the genres, I guess you might say.
And they got that idea. Afternoon Delight. You can use your imagination what it's all about. But they got the idea from a poster in an ice cream store up in Baltimore. They walked in and they had a sign that says Afternoon Delight, and it was about a chocolate sundae. True story. Yeah.
That's really funny. I'll be darned.
Yeah, really. As I say, use your imagination of what it's about.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I guess so. That's great. Well, you have appeared on so many great shows, Hee Haw and Porter Wagner, Ralph Emery, good old Nashville music. What are some of your favorite memories during your career that really stand out for you?
Well, probably I'm just going to be honest with you. I think the most thrilling moment was I was in Hawaii working the military bases when Tie Yellow Ribbon was first released. And this was as the Vietnam War was winding down, and there was a lot of POWs who had come from Vietnam back, coming home, and their first stop would be Hawaii, and then they was coming to the mainland. And I first time I ever sang this song live was at the naval base in Honolulu, and there was probably 2,000 people out there, and I sang Tie Yellow Ribbon. And I had to do it 6 times.
Oh, wow.
6 encores.
Wow.
For some reason, the POW has sort of thought that song was all about them, coming home from being in prison and that kind of thing. So that was probably the biggest thrill I've had, in my career as far as that goes. Because, even today, you have an event that happens and you'll see yellow ribbons go up everywhere, and it's just like been a mainstay. It's that song is 45 years old. Just think about that.
You got a life all of its own, no doubt about it. Well, you did a bunch of European and Hawaiian military tours, right?
Exactly. Yeah, I've been to Germany like 9 times, and Holland, Belgium, been to England a couple of times, Alaska 7, 8 times, Hawaii 6 or 7 times. Yeah, been very fortunate, Scott, in doing what I love and getting to travel around, meeting people and sing. It's almost like if you're doing something that you dearly love, that you never work a day in your life. And I've been so fortunate with that in my life.
That's wonderful. That is the best thing. There's so many great people in the country music business that you get to meet and get to be friends with. And who are some people that you've worked with over the years that kind of stand out as really good friends for you?
Yeah, everybody.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, from Johnny Cash down, my friend. I went to England. I mentioned England. They have a, I don't know if they still have it, but they used to have a big thing there. It was called the Wembley Festival,
Yeah.
right out of London, and they have it. Used to have it every year, and I went over there for 10 days in a row with a bunch from Nashville, and I remember vividly on that show was George Jones, Marty Robbins, Dolly Parton, and those kind of people. Just it's big standouts, you know. I mean, and to be even on the same show with those and being asked is a great honor.
Absolutely. You know, people in Europe are very big country music fans. I have so many listeners.
Big time.
And it's amazing. You know, they're very loyal, and they really know your music. When you go there, man, they know all the words to your songs. I mean, they're right on it, man.
We had Scott. We had people coming to that show that was dressed like Roy Rogers. I'm not kidding. With the chaps and the holster, you know, not a real gun, but that's just kind of how they associated country music with the old Western stars, you know.
That's amazing. Well, you've won some great awards, too. I know you've won the Arkansas Traveler Award and the CMA Broader Acceptance and Progress in Country Music. And there's also a Johnny Carver Day down in Mississippi. Is that right?
In Jackson, Mississippi.
Yeah.
I'm going to go there tomorrow night. I'm doing a show there. And, yeah, they have, I think it's August 8th is declared Johnny Carver Day in Jackson, Mississippi. And when they first started doing this, they had a couple of parades, one year and one the next year, and we rode in the parade, and it was like my moment, you know. Little country boy coming from Jackson, Mississippi, and it's just been a great honor for me, and I'm going to be doing a show there tomorrow night. In fact, I did a 1-hour interview at 8 o'clock this morning with the radio station down promoting the show.
Oh,
so
my gosh.
This is a second interview today.
Wow.
I've been looking forward to being on with you as well.
Well, I sure appreciate you taking the time. I know you performed in Branson quite a bit, too, didn't you?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I did a one season there, in Branson, and I don't know, Branson sort of lost a little bit of their clout. It's not like it used to be. I mean, you know, it used to be there was, you know, the Mel Tillis, you know, had his own theater, and a lot of people had their own theater, but that's kind of dwindled down a little bit. It's not like it used to be. But back in its prime, there was probably at least 10 theaters there with big stars, and they would go there instead of going on the road and spend the whole summer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yep. I remember my folks going down there in the 90s, and my gosh, they saw all sorts of great acts, Fair and Young, and like you said, Mel Tillis. And just a bunch of
really,
them.
everybody. Yeah, Roy Clark, you know, and even Andy Williams had a theater there for a while, you know. Just a lot of people had theaters at one point, but I don't think it's that way now. I'm not sure. It's been a long time since I was there.
Yeah, things have changed a lot, that's for sure. Well, folks, I want to let you know you can go to johnnycarver.com. That's Johnny's official website. We will have that information on our Facebook page as well, and you can check out what's going on with him and pick up his music. You've got an album called Then and Now, which has got a lot of your great hits on it too, right?
Yeah, you bet. And anybody, Scott, that would be interested in, like, booking me for a show up in that area, we can, as I say, I do a lot of the little Grand Opera type shows, and that they're everywhere, you know. And I use, you know, the house band to back me up, or any kind of fundraising events. Anybody be interested in that, they can contact me through the information you just gave them, you know, info@johnnycarver.com.
All right. We'll make sure and share all that information.
I don't bring a band anymore, so I don't have to charge as much as a lot of these acts that have a band and a bus. I just come at myself and use use the house, what I call referred to as the house band.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. It's a lot more economical these days, easier to travel.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, and all you got to worry about is you.
That's right. And a lot of folks don't realize how much overhead there is, putting a whole band on the road, and if you got a bus and everything.
Anymore, man, it would be unbelievable. Because I haven't done that in 10 years. I got rid of all that 10 years ago. But today's time, with gas as high as it is, and motels and hotels, and it would be, great expense.
Yeah, he sure is. So, any plans to do any new recording or anything?
Don't have any plans for that at all. I'm very content with where my life is now, like with my music school and work occasional date. So I'm just most of the labels aren't looking for people my age to make records. That it's pretty much the young feel, and that's the way it should be. That's how I got my chance. Coming up, and I was coming up when Ernest Tubb was losing his label and Roy Acuff was losing his label, and they're signing all new people. But that's just how it goes. It's like the Yankees. Babe Ruth did not play baseball for 50 years. You know what I mean?
True enough.
They signed new players.
True enough. Well, you've certainly got a lot of great music out there, and I'm going to be very happy to share some of it with my listeners tonight. And we're going to play a bunch of your fantastic songs. And, Johnny, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to be on My Kind of Country.
Hey, my pleasure very much, Scott. I thank you for having me, and maybe we get to come up and do a show up there, and maybe we'll get to meet, and, we'll do this all over again.
Well, that'd be fabulous, and I'll be sure to get a hold of you next time I get down that way, too, as I always like to get around and visit folks. So, great. Well, that's Johnny Carver. Again, folks, please visit johnnycarver.com. We'll put that information on our Facebook page, and we're going to play, of course, Tie a Yellow Ribbon and a bunch of Johnny's great songs for you right now as we continue with My Kind of Country. Johnny Carver, thank you again.
Thank you, Scott. I've enjoyed it.
I'm coming home, I've done my time. Now I've got to know what is and isn't mine. If you receive my letter telling you I'd soon be free, then you know just what to do if you still want me. If you still want me, well, tie a yellow ribbon around the old oak tree. It's been 3 long years. Do you still want me? If I don't see a ribbon around the old oak tree, well, I'll stay on the bus, forget about us. Put the blame on me if I don't see a yellow ribbon round the old oak tree. Bus driver, please look for me, 'cause I couldn't bear to see what I might see. I'm really still in prison, and my love, she holds the key. Simple yellow ribbons, what I need to set me free. I wrote and told her, please, well, tie a yellow ribbon round the old oak tree. It's been 3 long years. Do you still want me? If I don't see a ribbon round the old oak tree, well, I'll stay on the bus, forget about us. Put the blame on me if I don't see a yellow ribbon round the old oak tree. Now the whole darn bus is cheering, and I can't believe I see 100 yellow ribbons round the old oak tree.
Tie a ribbon round the old oak tree. Tie a ribbon round the old oak tree.
Does she make you feel like a big man 10 feet tall? Well, she will. Then she will let you fall. And does she lay it on with her come on sexy smile? Well, she will. Then she will make you cry. Yes, she'll make you think that love can last forever. She'll crush your pride, then make you smile and forgive her. She'll swear she's yours while her head lays on your shoulder. But you're gonna have your hands full, brother, if you hold her. She can give you wings by just saying you can fly. And she will, then she will take your sky. And she'll paint a dream where you can see them all come true. Yes, she will. Then she will paint them blue. Yes, she'll make you think that love can last forever. She'll crush your pride, then make you smile and forgive her. She'll swear she's yours while her head lays on your shoulder. But you're gonna have your hands full, brother, if you hold her. Yes, you're gonna have your hands full, brother, if you hold her. I said for 2 cents I'd leave you. She said, here's $800, and I still didn't have the sense to go. I said, I'll leave you in a minute. She said, the car keys are in it, and I still didn't have the sense to go. Although I know she's running around with a new friend she's found, and everybody laughs at me, I know. I said, you better quit seeing him, or else I'll be leaving. And so I said, when I go, you'll be grieving. She said, seeing is believing, and I still didn't have the sense to go. I said, the midnight train is waiting. She said, let's go to the station, and I still didn't have the sense to go. I said, this time I won't be back. And she said, let me help you pack. And I still didn't have the sense to go. Although I know she's running around with a new friend she's found, and everybody laughs at me, I know. I said, you better quit seeing him, or else I'll be leaving. And so I said, I'll catch the noon balloon. She said, I hope it's leaving soon. And I still didn't have the sense to go. Oh no, I still didn't have the sense to go. Gonna find my baby, gonna hold her tight, gonna grab some afternoon delight. My motto's always been when it's right, while waiting till the middle of a cold dark night. When everything's a little clearer in the light of day, and we know the night is always gonna be here anyway. Thinking of his working up my appetite, looking forward to a little afternoon delight. Rubbing sticks and stones together make the sparks ignite, and the thought of loving you is getting so exciting. Sky rockets in flight, afternoon delight. Afternoon delight. Afternoon delight. Started out this morning feeling so polite. I always thought a fish could not be caught a dead in bite, but you got some better waiting and I think I might like to have a little bit of afternoon delight. Sky rockets in flight, afternoon delight. Afternoon delight. Afternoon delight. Be waiting for my baby when I come around. We can make a lot of loving before the sun goes down. Thinking of this working up my appetite, looking forward to a little afternoon delight. Rubbing sticks and stones together make the sparks ignite, and the thought of loving you is getting so exciting. Sky rockets in flight, afternoon delight. Afternoon delight. Afternoon delight. Afternoon delight. That old feeling building up inside me, and I know that soon I'll lose control. My strength to resist is wearing thin. When temptation comes, I'll cheat again. I'm not proud of myself when it's over. I go home and I'll face the one I love. And I know, although I'm so ashamed, when temptation comes, I'll cheat again. When I hold her in my arms, I keep wondering, does she know or suspect I've been untrue? Because I'm weak, she'll be hurt by my sin. When temptation comes, I'll cheat again. When I hold her in my arms, I keep wondering, does she know or suspect I've been untrue? Because I'm weak, she'll be hurt by my sins. When temptation comes, I'll cheat again. cocktail party in a clubhouse on the Lust-Wet's Hartford hillside. On the Tallahassee, Oklahoma Baptist Training Union hayride, dancing to a country rhythm in a barroom on Chicago's south side. Tonight someone's falling in love at the soda fountain in a Sacramento, California drugstore. In the shifting sugar-colored sands along the northwest Florida seashore, off the second Fort Worth exit in a motor hotel on the third floor. Tonight someone's falling in love. As the darkness moves across the mountains and the valleys and the bayous, somewhere in the night there's someone whispering, I love you. At a supermarket checkout counter making plans to get together. At a drive-in movie holding hands and laughing at the rainy weather. For the first time or the 10th time, until the next time or forever. Tonight someone's falling in love. Just as long as I've been knowing you, you've been like a saint, filling me with the sound of mission bells. But it's all been just a show with you, that's just what you ain't. I was there the night your halo fell. You've got a little bit of dirt on your lily white hand, caused me a whole lot of hurt that I just can't stand. I caught you wading in muddy water, messing with a dark-haired man. You've got a little bit of dirt on your lily white hand. Like every fool, I took my chances by taking you back. I still believe that you were pure and sweet, but I just saw you dishing out glances and making a pass at some guy while walking down the street. You've got a little bit of dirt on your lily white hand, caused me a whole lot of hurt that I just can't stand. I caught you wading in muddy water, messing with a dark-haired man. You've got a little bit of dirt on your lily white hand. You've got a little bit of dirt on your lily white hand, caused me a whole lot of hurt that I just can't stand. I caught you wading in muddy water, messing with a dark-haired